Hello, everybody. This is Oasis Gaming. My name is Brow79, and I have Rodney 182 and Tsunami, and we're going to discuss here who do we think is going to be the most successful the next generation of consoles, whether it's going to be PlayStation or it's going to be Xbox. We're going to go ahead and debate that. We're all very passionate gamers. We're excited what this video game console is having in store. But I think we each have our biases, and we're here to have a discussion about that, confront that, and hopefully learn something new. So, do you guys want to say something about yourselves real fast?
No.
Okay, good.
that means you just volunteered yourself, Rodney.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
I'm Rodney. I mainly play on Xbox and Steam. And should we say our predictions now, or should we wait till later?
You can say the predictions.
Okay. Very biased towards Xbox, but I'm eager to see what Sony does as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Tsunami, and I like to play fighting games. I'm here representing Team Green, Team Xbox all the way. So I'll be telling you all the reasons why that should be your next console and why they should win the console war.
Yes, thank you. And I'm Brow79. I am a huge Sony fan. I've had every PlayStation since this came out. I almost want to say that I bought almost all of them on the day of launch. And I think I got Tsunami here. I think he's a great representative of the Xbox team because, I would say, how many Xbox Ones would you say you've owned in the lifetime of Xbox? You're very passionate about supporting for the Microsoft. Am I right?
Yeah, thanks so much, Browse. I have gone to the launch party ever since Xbox One has launched, so I've picked it up on the day that it's launched at the Microsoft Store to party with all my fellow Xbox gamers. I go to the game tournaments that they host at the Microsoft Store. They basically know me whenever I go over there to my local one. And I currently own two Xbox One X's. I've had the S and the original Xbox console. So I can pretty confidently say that I'm familiar with it and I enjoy playing on it.
Okay,
And I will say, just go ahead.
He's making me feel like a casual over here. I'm so sorry. I only own one Xbox.
And let me just say, if you don't mind me saying, Tsunami, out of full disclosure, I have an Xbox One, but it's all thanks to you. You went ahead and donated that to me. So the only reason why I've even adopted the console and I've gotten to experience the games is thanks to you guys. Thanks to you, I have enjoyed the system a lot. So I do have the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. But of course, I still think the PlayStation platform, it's a better console, and I do think they're going to be winning the next war of sorts as far as the next generation. But I wanted to ask you, Tsunami, why do you think the new Xbox is going to do so well? What do you think it's going to do? They're going to do maybe different, or what are you looking forward to? What they're going to do with this console compared to other ones?
Yeah, I appreciate your asking me, Browse. Look, the reason that the original Xbox got off to a rough start is because Microsoft is so forward thinking about things. So the idea that you have to make a Microsoft account and then the games go on your account and that you log into Xbox Live with your account, that was something that was a little shocking to gamers. It might have flown really well in the PC world, but security and safety were not things I think that the console world was quite ready for at the time. So people found that to be a little jarring and maybe went to the competition. But fast forward to now, I think that is now the standard for how people have an online experience. We can hold people accountable for their behavior that way, create a safe and welcoming environment online, which I know that Xbox is really big on doing. So I think that now that people are used to that, that's not going to be an issue anymore. Browse, let's face it. Xbox has always been more powerful than PlayStation. And I think that this generation, Microsoft is giving a gut punch to Sony with the ginormous PC box that they are releasing. You could take two GameCubes and stack them on top of each other, and that would be the next Xbox console that they're bringing out. I don't think Sony saw it coming.
Mm-hmm. It is, and here's the interesting thing about it is that what I give Xbox credit is that they had a horrible public relations as far as when they announced that, hey, if you want to play our games, your Xbox needs to be connected to the internet every 24 hours. we're gonna have to basically monitor the rights of the game, and it was a horrible PR campaign that they did.
Yeah.
And a lot of people kind of resented them for that, me included. Like, I was one of the people that went ahead and resented them. But looking back at it now, I'm not even, because I guess what I want to say is a lot of people resented that tactic because they felt like they weren't never going to be able to own the games, even if you own a disc or if you own it on the console. They were never going to own it. They were going to need to be connected all the times to be able to play it.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was one of the people that went ahead and hold a resentment towards them for that, because I thought, man, they're getting really greedy. Having said that, what's interesting is that now I don't even own CDs. The reason is I am too lazy to get up and change the games. You know, so all of the games that I have on the PS4 and Sony are all digital. I almost kind of feel that Xbox knew what I wanted even before I even realized what I wanted. Like, they went ahead and saw me as in the future of gaming, and I am hoping that they do well on this console. But I look back on the release of the Xbox One, and I just feel what a missed opportunity, because they are a little hesitant to embrace Xbox because of those taxes in the past.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's going to continue to be some of the things that keep people away from Xbox. But I really do think that we're getting to a point where most people are okay with having an account with a company. They get that that's a normal way to transact business. So, Browse, I don't think that's going to affect the war nearly as much in this generation as it did the prior generation. But I do want to touch a little bit on what you said, that Microsoft does kind of force its way onto people. It is a giant corporation, Microsoft is, and it is a much bigger corporation than Sony is. And they're finally starting to throw some of that muscle around and use it for the benefit of Xbox gamers. So here goes Microsoft buying up a bunch of game studios, buying them up, and thereby just adding to what will be a future of lots of Xbox exclusive titles, and more of them are going to show up on Xbox Game Pass, and that gets me to another major selling point for Xbox here, Browse, is the value proposition. Especially when it comes to gaming, this is becoming expensive. And I actually recently signed up with Xbox Game Pass so I could play games with you guys, and we could play multiplayer in a way that's accessible and affordable for people. For $10 a month to be able to have access to a large library of games, that's like the equivalent of purchasing 2 games at regular price in an entire year. And us, as much as we game, we know that we're going to be buying more than that. So I think it's going to be really, really difficult for Sony to be able to match the value proposition, to have access to as many games as Xbox gives with their Game Pass. And I think that is still the best platform. And then more Xbox muscle coming in, Browse, when they add the online game streaming, meaning you don't even have to have a physical Xbox. You can actually play on any device at any time that has a decent internet connection. I think that Sony's going to have a lot of figuring out to do, and if they don't, it's going to be trouble.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because I got the Game Pass. I think I got it even before you did. And I'll tell you why I got it. I got it because of Ori. I had to play Ori the day that it came out, Ori, the Will of the Wisp. And then as it happened, they had the Untitled Goose Game, which is
yeah, a
really fun game. I love the fact that I was able to support indie developers like that, because it's such a unique game. It wouldn't be a game that I would buy, but it would be. I mean, of course, I enjoy the heck out of it as I was playing it. Mm-hmm. And most recently, we went ahead and played Street of Rage 4, which came out on the day that it came out on the Xbox Game Pass.
Right.
So I think I have to give credit to Xbox. They have really are at the forefront of creating really value content. And if they have that implemented for the Xbox Series, I think they're going to be. I'm really happy for the Xbox supporters out there, because they're getting a great value for the system. But
sure,
I will say, similar to what happened with the Wii, right? The Wii came out, and then they had the Wii U. A lot of people were kind of confused with the name, there was kind of a lot of confusion as far as what did this thing do. One thing that I'm confused with the Xbox Series is with the name that it has and the way that it looks like a PC. I'm
Yeah.
worried that the consumers are going to be kind of confused of what am I buying here? What is it? Is this a PC? Or I'm just thinking that for hardcore gamers like ourselves, we understand it, but for the average consumer, maybe buying it for the kids, I'm kind of confused. I'm concerned, not confused. I'm concerned that they're going to be confused as much as the consumers were back with the Wii U and the Wii.
Well, I think that everything Johnny said is technically, from a technological standpoint, completely correct. Microsoft is this huge organization, but you do have to admit their gaming section is pretty small compared to the entire organization. And
That's for sure.
what you do see out of Microsoft is that while they do innovate, they also shoot themselves in the foot. They're their worst enemy. They packaged the Kinect with that Xbox One. Nobody asked for a Kinect. It increased the cost of your base bundle, so that put a barrier between you and your customer base. So right there, PS4 had a huge advantage over Xbox One when it first launched. So I hope and pray everything is... Wow, I don't know where the hell that came from. Wow. All right. You ever surprise yourself? Why did that come out of my mouth?
What have we come to?
Yeah. So I really hope that everything you say goes off flawlessly and the Xbox is a huge success and it finally like evens the bar with Sony, because Sony has been winning this last generation. The numbers are there. You really can't even talk about denying that. I actually saw a little infographic meme. I didn't check the numbers. I assume they're correct. The PS2 has sold more units than all of Xbox's combined.
Wow. Okay. What I have heard is that the PlayStation 4 sold 100 million, and the Xbox One sold 50 million. And I almost want to say the Switch has sold even more than the Xbox One. So it does seem like the Sony has the install base. And what I'm concerned about is that if these two companies come out with at the same price point, they have the same chip because it's made by the same company. They have 8 cores, the same RAM. You essentially have the same system. I think you're gonna have all of the Xbox people going to the Xbox news platform, and all of the PlayStation going for the PlayStation. It's gonna be the same as this generation. That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm expecting. I'm not really worried. What worries me is that I really do want for them to be even, because if you have good competition, we all benefit as gamers. But I still think Sony's going to come out ahead, and I do think it's going to be a repeat of the current generation.
Yeah, I want to add though, Browse, that I feel like Microsoft is going to gain ground, and it's going to gain and gain and gain. At the end of the day, gamers want games, and gamers want a good experience. And I feel like Microsoft is just chomping away. And here we are with a lot of access to games with Game Pass, the ability to play games on any device, and essentially have your Xbox with you at all times. I feel like Sony's going to have to do something to answer that. Otherwise, Microsoft is going to keep on gaining ground, keep on gaining ground. And I also have to say, if you play a game on an Xbox versus play that game on a PlayStation, you get a better experience on the Xbox. The Xbox will continue to be the more powerful system. I do not think that Sony was expecting a small tower PC with an Xbox logo on it to be released by Microsoft. And I think that is going to be and that is the reason we've seen Sony come out and say, oh, we want to downplay the teraflops and all the flops and all these little numbers here. They want to downplay that and just really talk more about the experience and the immersion. I think that everyone can see through that bluff, and we know that Xbox is likely going to once again be the more powerful console. If you have to choose between playing a game on one versus the other, you want to choose the better experience.
Yeah. What do you mean you get a better experience on Xbox? While I do agree the Game Pass is an amazing value, and they do have some social features that are a lot more fleshed out than the PlayStation. What do you mean you get a better experience?
I think you get higher frames and a better resolution. And because the graphics power of the Xbox is going to be better than the PlayStation, I think that as it is now and will continue to be in the future here with the next console generation, I think that most people, whenever they do side-by-side comparisons of what the same exact game looks like on one versus the other, there's going to be a winner there.
I do agree with you that when I'm playing the Xbox compared to the PlayStation 4, the what am I looking? I guess the options were, as far as switching to my friends or recording something, it's a lot more streamlined. It's more intuitive. I feel like I'm able to navigate the menus outside of the game on the Xbox better than on the PlayStation.
Well, it comes from Windows 10, right? So obviously, the development of the operating system for the PC and the Xbox have kind of gone hand to hand, and Microsoft is using that kind of platform to be able to make the games there. So I think that's why the UI is the way it is on Xbox.
Yeah, but
the UI.
Not to be Debbie Downer or anything, though, is because you're talking about the Xbox UI right now. Do you remember when the Xbox One first came out? Do you remember the UI?
Horrible.
It was absolute garbage. Okay, but we forget that because it's so refined now. It took it years to get where it is now. So when the Xbox comes out, unless it tries to keep that same dashboard UI and not really change a lot about it, which I'm sure they're going to change a lot. So I don't know. Just keep that in mind. We don't know what they're going to come out with. It's basically the first round of people that buy it, like Johnny. They're basically beta testers, okay?
Right.
So let them get all the bugs and work out all the things and find all the red rings and all the other things that are going to happen every generation with pretty much every system. I think PS3 had some problems as well, so it's not just one company doing all the damage. But just temper expectations. That's me.
Yeah, I will say what I would trust Xbox to do better this time than PlayStation is the UI. I think the UI is going to be a lot easier to navigate just because they have been better to navigate on the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4. However, Sony is making their own SSD drive, and I think they're paying a lot of money in it. So you were just talking about the better experience. It wouldn't surprise me is when you put the same game being loaded up on both systems, if the PlayStation not only loads faster, but you're able to switch in between games faster. And that's really when you're talking about a better user experience. I hate having to go ahead and, at least with PlayStation and Xbox, I feel like I have to close everything down just to be able to open up a new game. And I still have to wait even for that to load. Now, of course, this is more of, we're guessing at this point. Obviously, Tsunami, you think that the Xbox will be faster, will be able to navigate all that stuff better, because I think that Sony is investing heavily on this specialized SSD drive. It wouldn't surprise me if they're better and if they, at the end, provide a better user experience. So we'll see. We'll see. We're guessing at this point.
I actually have heard that the new PlayStation will have M.2 SSDs that you can actually take from a PC and install them in the new PlayStation. And let me go ahead and give PlayStation some credit for that.
Yeah.
If they do that, that would be amazing, because that means that we could just go and buy our own M.2 SSD drive and have 2 terabytes of storage that's super fast, that's installed directly there. If Xbox has something proprietary, and you can call that, another way of saying that would be expensive.
Yeah.
I think that might be a point for PlayStation there. But I am just so glad to see game manufacturers, console manufacturers standardizing things, using a USB Type-C connection and using things like an M.2 drive that don't have to be just for game consoles. They can be for anything. So that would be pretty awesome for PlayStation fans. Browse, one more thing that I want to say about Xbox that I think gets underrepresented and underplayed is the commitment that the company Microsoft and Xbox generally show to inclusivity. I'm incredibly proud to be an Xbox gamer because I can see that Xbox has made a controller that's just for people who may have different physical abilities to be able to have access to games. I've actually seen people with different abilities using a different controller and being able to play games at a high level. Personally, I am a fighting game player. I've seen people play fighting games on a unique controller and be able to compete at a world-class level. And it's so inspirational to me to see that. And I'm just so glad that Microsoft is the kind of company that says, we're not really sure if this is going to be a profitable endeavor, but we want everyone to be included. And in general, I find that Xbox and Microsoft are always allies for any kind of community that is a little less represented or underrepresented and wants to make sure that everybody gets included, that everyone is respected online, and everyone gets a good experience. I think that's a major reason to decide which giant corporation you want to game with, and I really like what Microsoft does on that end.
The Xbox Series and the PlayStation 5 are both going to be backward compatible. I just feel that I've invested so much into PlayStation 4 games. I don't want to go ahead and lose all of that. I want to keep all of that. So I'm going to end up buying a PlayStation 5.
Well, just keep your PS4 and buy the next Xbox. No big deal there. You can keep all those games and keep on playing them. Just move forward on a better platform. But joking aside, I think you're absolutely right. I have to admit to you that the games library for PlayStation is far more attractive. And I also have to admit to you what we know about that new PlayStation controller as absolutely ugly. It has got to be the ugliest controller I've ever seen. The feature of not having to use a headset and to be able to talk directly to the controller it just eliminates another barrier for people, and I think that the PlayStation folks are going to have a good experience. I'm optimistic here, Browse, that Microsoft will do what it occasionally does when someone else comes out with a better idea and just straight up copy that.
Yeah.
All the best companies do it.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I invested, because I bought the PlayStation 4 the day that it came out. But the reason why I invested is just because they had Metal Gear Solid 4. And I was so invested in that series, I was like, I need to figure out what's going to happen to Solid Snake.
And did you figure it out?
No, I still didn't figure it out. The story didn't make any sense. But I love the camouflage feature. There was a lot of stuff that I liked about it.
Good news, Browse. You can play Metal Gear on Xbox as well. So just come on over to the dark side. I think that the idea of us downloading giant file sizes onto a machine that then uses a bunch of processing power to give us an experience is going to wane as faster and faster internet speeds become available. So for those people with gigabit Ethernet speeds that can wire in a direct connection, and with the coming 5G wireless internet standard and Wi-Fi 6 capable devices, the speed of being able to stream, just like they've done with film, Rodney, the same way we can get a probably not a Blu-ray type experience on our television when we stream from Netflix, but one that is more than enjoyable. They're going to do the exact same thing with games. It might not be as good of an experience as playing on your PC, your PlayStation, or your Xbox, running it from that hardware. But if it can be a good enough experience and you get a very wide variety of games, I don't think anyone's going to miss doing things the old way.
When you say that these services are going to be available, we always have to keep in mind they're not going to be available for everyone. You know, there are a lot of people that are not going to have access to the internet speeds that you're going to need for this kind of stuff. And as technology kind of moves along, sometimes it leaves big swaths of citizens and video game enthusiasts behind. So that is something that kind of weighs on me sometimes. Like whenever I'm excited about having 4K streaming directly into my living room, I gotta think of that guy in, rural Tennessee who really loves Halo, but he only gets 5 frames a second. So
Yeah, I think that's what makes us Oasins, right? That even though we have our platforms that we prefer, that we care about the experience of others, that we want others to also succeed, and that your success doesn't mean someone else's failure,
yeah,
that everyone can succeed together. I would not want anyone to be left behind, especially since games is about having fun with your friends. If I couldn't enjoy games with you guys, I wouldn't have nearly as much fun. So I really do hope that these companies will look at the value proposition, that they will try to understand what is the total cost of gaming. The total cost being the cost of using electricity, the cost of a high-speed internet, the cost of purchasing the console, the accessories, the games, the storage, everything that you need. What is the cost of ownership of these games? And they're going to try to make it as accessible as possible so that way more of us can play.
Well, with that, was there any other points that you guys wanted to share regarding the next generation war between PS5 and Xbox?
I think that I made my case pretty well, Browse. And I think it's pretty easy for you to root for the PlayStation team when I see you on Xbox all the time, every time I log on, and we're playing games on Xbox Game Pass together. I don't want to say you're a hypocrite, but you sure do play a lot of Xbox for a PlayStation fan. That's all I'm saying, okay?
I can assure you will see me as much on the PlayStation if you had a PlayStation. You like how I put that in there? You like how I put that in there? So just to kind of reiterate my points regarding why do I think Sony is going to win, I think Xbox is suffering from a PR issue from their prior consoles, the Ring of Death, the overpricing with the Kinect, having to remain connected to the Xbox 24 hours. I think all of that stuff, they really have a PR where I think there's a lot of people that just don't trust the brand, or at least are willing to wait and see how the brand does before adopting it. So I don't think you're gonna have a lot of early adopters with the Xbox.
I don't think that people are looking at the past. I think that people are looking at the future. They're looking at what games they want to play and how they want to play them. And I think that Microsoft is bringing an overall better experience. I think that people will have a much better value playing games on Xbox Game Pass. They'll spend a lot less money and have access to a wide variety of games. That being said, Browse, I've got to admit that a PlayStation player is getting a fantastic gaming experience. I have a bias. And as a secular person, I can recognize where I have a bias and a preference. It does not mean that your points are any better than mine. I think that people ultimately will follow what their preference is. Mine continues to be Xbox, and I am looking forward to getting a couple of the new ones. And I look forward to borrowing your PlayStation games to play those.
I assume you're going to buy us all Xboxes. I mean, what's one Xbox, two Xbox?
What's a couple more?
Yeah, what's a couple more?
Yeah.
Well, I personally, I don't really care who wins. Like, as long as the value is there and people are having fun on their systems, I don't choose one horse over the other. I do wish that more games and Sony especially would kind of focus and ease up on allowing crossplay. I cannot tell you how much I love not being constrained to the system that I chose to play with my friends.
Well, I just want to say, as Tsunami has mentioned, we're Oasians, and as Oasians, we believe that knowledge comes through reasoning. We acknowledge the fact that we have our bases. Of course, I love Sony, Tsunami loves Xbox, but in reasoning and discussing this, we're able to learn something. And I've benefited out of this conversation greatly. I still think Sony's going to edge out, but there was great points that you made, Tsunami, that I hadn't thought about.
At the end of the day, I side truly with gamers. No matter what platform that you play on, have a good time, be kind to each other, and respect each other's preferences. I respect my friends' preferences here on this chat, and I think that we're going to be talking trash in good fun with each other all throughout this system console launch cycle, and look forward to being able to tout fun games. But at the end of the day, we're going to want to play our games with our best friends. And so I'm looking forward to playing games with Rodney and Browse for a long time.